Welcome to another episode of Latinas Be Like Us. I'm excited to have Luna Melero, who is a DJ and an EDM singer, and she's awesome. She's amazing. Before I get into it, I want to remind everyone listening that if you want to learn more about Latinas Be Like Us, please visit latinasbelikeus.com. And if you want to leave a donation, please visit latinasbelikeus.com/donate. Without further ado, welcome, Luna. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, Luna, how long have you been performing in the LA area? You're originally from LA, right?
Yes, I'm born and raised in LA. I have been performing since 2019. I've been doing pop music since 2019, so that is what I'm still actively pursuing. I started DJing 6 months ago as a way to just empower myself and to have more opportunities to perform. I perform on TikTok Live every single night, and I DJ on TikTok Live, and that's really been helping me get my name out there. So I perform pretty much every day, whether it's on my pop project or DJing. I'm just doing whatever opportunities are available to me at the moment. And right now, DJing, because I can do it by myself, and I can plug and play pretty much anywhere and anywhere I want, it's been really rewarding, and it has really just helped me get more opportunities to perform. So it's been really awesome. I'm able to play my original music in these DJ sets, and people are able to hear my songs kind of like they would on the radio in between some other songs that they may already know. So for instance, I try to very strategically play my own original songs after certain songs that I know people will like. So I'll play my songs a lot of times after like a Dua Lipa remix or a Tove Lo remix, artists whose music is very similar in alignment to my sound, pop-wise. But when people hear my music in the mix of that, they're like, oh, what was that? Who was that artist that was after that song? And it's like, oh, that was me. And that has been really opening a lot of doors for me because people are catching on like, oh, she does sing.
Yeah.
Pop music. She does have songs that sound kind of like this, but she also has other songs that sound way different. And people are kind of able to hear my music in the mix. And I think that has been a really big, subtle, and important way for me to really get some exposure. And it's crazy because my original idea was to send my music to other DJs and have them do this for me. And I was in the studio with my producer and I was like, hey, I keep asking my DJ friends and everybody I know to remix our songs, and they don't want to do it. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they're lazy. I don't know what their excuse is, but they're just not doing it. And I was like, what if we make a remix? I was like, I already have an idea in my head on how a remix should sound anyway. So like, what if we make this remix and then we send the remix already done to other people? Like maybe we'll eliminate one step of the creative process and just make it easier. So we did that. And I was about to email every DJ I knew my song, a remix that we had worked on. And then it was like a light bulb moment where I was like, why don't I just learn how to DJ? Why don't I just teach myself how to do this and me be the one performing my own music on the dance floor? And the beautiful thing is that DJs can plug in their microphone and speak. So if you can speak into a microphone while you're DJing, you can sing. And so it just opened a lot of ideas and doors for me in that way too. So it's like, not only do I just DJ, but I also live sing, and I incorporate my original music into pretty much every mix I make. I build it around one or two of my songs. And that has opened a lot of doors for me because now people who are tuning into my DJ side are hearing my pop songs and they're going to my Spotify and YouTube and all the other platforms, and they're listening to my original stuff and they're becoming fans of my
pretty awesome
project too.
That's so smart too. I mean, because you're right. You keep asking, and then it just gets to a point and it's like, why don't just I do it by myself? Mm-hmm. And that's what you did. You took the power and you went for it.
Yeah, I'm in a place now in my life and in my career where I can't be waiting on other people. Like I'm too far in to where I can say, oh, sorry, I'm going to quit and just go back to what I was doing before. Like everything I was doing before is gone. Those options are not available to me anymore. Those doors are closed, and they've been closed for quite a few years now, that there's no like calling and be like, hey, I made a mistake. Will you let me back in? Like it's done. I've been pursuing music for too long. So now I'm just in a place where it's like, for the amount of time that I can wait for somebody else to do something for me. And the way I look at it is I've been doing this since 2019. So in the 5 years that I've been waiting for other people to help launch my career, I could have taught myself so many things in those 5 years. And I did. I taught myself a lot of things in those 5 years. But what I didn't teach myself how to do was how to empower myself as a vocalist musically. I took producer classes, but I didn't take enough or do it enough to be like, okay, I'm a producer. I didn't learn the keyboard enough to be like, oh, I'm going to go be like Alicia Keys and play piano and sing. I didn't even learn the guitar or anything else well enough to be like, well, I can go up there and do like one song. I can write music because in my studio, it's very slow pace. You know what I mean? It's like I can strum things out or take my time and really figure things out. But on stage, it's like once the song's done, you got a BPM you got to follow. You have other musicians playing along with you. It just became a lot more than I was ready for. And I didn't grow up doing music. I literally am self-taught in everything that I do. So that was always something that was a crutch to me, or at least it felt like one. So DJing was a way for me to kind of learn an instrument, for lack of a better word. Like this controller has become my instrument now. It's given me opportunities to not rely on other people to bring my music in a live audience, live performance situation to life. Like I don't have to wait for the guitar player and the drummer and the bass player to all be available at the same time to practice and to record and to do all these things. I can really just
do it on your own.
Do it on your
own. Yeah. There are some there are some doors that have been closed and you're not really interested in going back.
I think my story is really interesting because right out the gates, I've always known I've wanted to be and work in music. So like right out the gates in college, I moved to New York, and that's where I went to school. And, moving to New York and living in New York is kind of like moving to LA. It's a big city. There's entertainment. Everything that I wanted to do was at my disposal. And I really took advantage of that. I got myself internships at record labels, and I became a music journalist and was writing reviews on local shows and events and interviewing artists. Like I really threw myself out there because I was just so passionate and I wanted to do it. And, when I finished with college and I moved back home, I was kind of in this place where it's like music careers, especially when you're starting out, don't pay a lot, but I knew I wanted to do it. So I was in this freelance part-time kind of phase of my life, doing music journalism, interning at record labels, thinking like, okay, maybe I'll be behind the scenes and be a publicist or a manager or something. And while I was doing that, I was working like as a waitress and doing all sorts of other jobs. And it eventually got to a point where music journalism was not going to pay my bills. Like that career was kind of fading out. Like it doesn't really exist anymore in the Rolling Stone days of writing that I thought I was going to, graduate college and grow into. So it was kind of like then when I started taking a corporate job and getting deeper and deeper into the corporate ladder, doing human resources at a law firm, not doing anything music related. And it was nice because at the time I was making corporate money and getting PTO and doing all these things. So it's like, oh, I can take paid vacation and go to a music festival and still be a music journalist. I was living this crazy double life and it was really fun. But the more I was doing that and experiencing the music behind the scenes, the more like the passion of wanting to be the artist was coming back, and like my childhood self and the dream of being an artist was returning. And this was also like a weird time because I started getting deeper and deeper into the corporate ladder and losing touch with music, but always trying to hold on to it. So it just got to a point where corporate was too much and it was taxing mentally, physically. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And it was hard because the corporate world, as toxic as it is, it pays you well. You can take paid vacations, you have benefits, like you're taken care of in a lot of ways that your family. Our families immigrated here for us to have strong, stable, successful lives, not for us to be chasing the starving artist dream. So it was like a very tough time for me. I was going through a lot of arguments with my family. It took months and months of me finally to being like, okay, I'm finally going to quit and do it. But what really did it for me was that I had been at that job for 6 years, and I was like, hey, there's a new age where we can be working from home. And mind you, this was just before 2020, like just before the pandemic. And I had asked my boss, and I was like, hey, can I work from home, part-time, just asking for like 1 or 2 days where I can be at home and available to be in the studio. Because at the time I was getting asked, people were inquiring, asking me to be ready to work. And I had to say no, because I was working like 60 plus hours at this corporate job, grinding away. And I was just, like, I just wanted to be more available. And long story short, my bosses didn't want to cooperate with me. And I just felt like after 6 years of grinding for you guys and just kind of being really loyal, and
It's
you guys
time to say
hired me.
goodbye.
Yeah. And you know what? You hired me knowing on my resume that I graduated college, like wanting to do music journalism and just music, like it was on my resume. You hired me knowing this is what my passion was. So I didn't feel supported. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit. And a year later, my dad ended up passing away. And it was like 2019 when my dad passed away. I was going through a really, really, really hard time. Adjusting to not having the corporate life that I was used to having, that money and all that. And, then again, my dad dying and being like, okay, you made this decision. Life is short.
Yes.
Do it. Like, just do it. Just con ganas, do it. Like, just go all out and do it. And it was that moment where I was like, you know what? My dad, he immigrated here as an infant. So I don't think he really remembers his immigration story, but he came here. His parents came here, my grandparents, whom I'm very close to, for us to have better lives and to live the American dream. And I just felt like the American dream is for you to literally try to accomplish your dreams, try to establish yourself and make a name and something of yourself. And I felt like I just owed it to my dad and to my grandparents and to myself, my childhood self, whom they raised to believe I was capable of doing anything, whom they raised to believe I was like this superstar, meant to be the center of attention person. I just felt like I owed it to them and to myself to just really go back to my roots and really go and try to be the person that I've always wanted to be.
First of all, I'm very sorry to hear that your dad passed away. That must have been very hurtful, just that he's no longer. But it's those moments that also sort of like shake you and like make you realize that it's time to get on that horse and go after what you really want, right?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Life is up and down, and love and loss is a part of it. And and that's something that has always really inspired my creativity. The whole concept of love and loss and how the two cannot really exist without the other. And that's kind of always been a theme in my life, like just ever since I was really young, love and loss. So it's like, yeah, it was a very tragic, hard thing for me to deal with, but it also shaped and led me to where I am now, just this very relentless, resilient, I'm going to do it and I'm going to live my dreams and life is short kind of attitude about myself and what I'm pursuing musically and artistically and business wise, because at the end of the day, music is a business. And I think that's something that people forget, especially, for us independent artists, that it is a business. Like the difference between the people who are amateurs and the people who are professionals is that at some point you decide like, okay, this is my business, is going to sustain my life. It's not just something I'm going to do on the side. And I love music so much, and it's not ever about money by any means. But when you pour your heart, your soul, and just all your time and energy into something, and you want people to see it and you want to be recognized in whatever form that is. And we just happen to live in a society where the form of appreciation is in the form of monetary, financial money, like that's just how we as humans in society show support, but people could give me hugs or, like if there was some other form of currency or something else, I'd be happy with that too. It's just the gift of being able to share.
Yeah, I mean, and why not, right? Like if you're doing something that you love, and if you're you're enjoying yourself, and this is really what you want to do, and you're showing something to the world, you're giving something to the world. Why not, receiving something back? And because we don't live on hugs, and we need to eat,
Right,
and we need to pay rent, why not? Why not get paid? So you mentioned also that it was hard with your family, like getting accepted, your family accepting that you wanted to become an artist. When did that change? What happened?
It definitely took a lot of conversations, a lot of arguments, I guess, for lack of a better word. I mean, the way my family communicates can be very loud and very vocal and very aggressive sometimes, but it's always all out of love and tough love for sure. But I think the real defining moment, at least for me personally, when I was able to see my family and recognize and feel just a shift and a change in how they viewed my career, I think was, there's two instances actually, and they both kind of have to do with the same place. So the real first time was my second performance at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Where I had like a band behind me, and I did the hair, I did the outfit, I took it very seriously, and I channeled my inner Lady Gaga, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And a lot of people came, and it was mostly my family and a lot of really close friends. And I think that was the first time they had all ever really seen me perform, and kind of realized like, oh, wow, like she's actually kind of really good at this. And I think they finally just kind of saw how like I really lit up there. And I saw it. And then after that, everyone kind of let up on me a little bit. Like I think they just needed to see it happen for themselves. So that was like for me the real time. But I think there's also a time before that. Like in hindsight, now I can kind of reflect on a time that was before that. I didn't see it then, was before that second Whiskey A Go-Go show, I had actually been asked to play there once before. And it was an opening slot, and they had asked me very last minute. And I was actually already like planning to go on a family vacation. I can't remember where we went to. I think we went to Vegas or something like that. And I ended up having to leave that vacation like a day or two short. And I like paid the extra money to change my flight and all that crazy stuff. And I think my family saw like, oh, she got booked to play the Whiskey A Go-Go. Like that's kind of a big deal. And that was my first time really performing for like a real live audience like that, like in a venue. And they saw like how I changed my flight, and I did all these things to kind of accommodate that booking, as if I was like Lady Gaga, like, oh, come on, I gotta call my people. Like, we got something, we gotta go. Like the way I just handled it, I think they saw like, oh, shoot, she's very serious and she's gonna do whatever it takes to like do that. So I think those two moments, both having to do with the Whiskey A Go-Go, which is a reputable place, was like my family's, I think, moment where like, okay, we're going to let her do this. We're going to write it out. We're going to see how it goes. And we're going to kind of stop giving her so much trouble about it for a little bit. And now they're very supportive. Now they help me coordinate my events, and they're like helping me.
That's beautiful. What a turnaround. Like that's like 180.
Yes, it was. There were a lot of like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, but what about your healthcare benefits? And what about this? And what are you going to do for work? And it was a lot. But I don't know, when you feel called to do something, I think a lot of us have that calling. Just so many of us ignore it. And we hear it, like you hear it at different times in your life, stronger sometimes, and sometimes it's very faint. I think it just really depends on what you're doing in your life, but there's always something that calls you. and it's going to continue calling you until you give it the time and attention that it's craving. And the sad thing is, I think, one, a lot of us don't answer the calling to begin with. And then two, I think we get curious and we start to answer the call. And then we just get scared. Like we get too close to it. And it's like that scary movie when they creak the door open and it's like, okay, the monster hasn't come out yet. But like, everyone's safe still. Nothing's happened yet. And it's like that unknown that you're like, okay, no, I'm going to close the door.
Yeah, back to the
There's
safe
some people who
space.
close the door and there's some people who open it,
Yeah.
and you just got to decide like who you're going to be.
Did you hear anything? Did they say anything after that show that they attended and they saw you shine?
Yeah, they did. I think for them, I think it was just really a big shock for everybody, like to see the full show and to see it all kind of come together, because my family never really knew me as an artist. I think I've always been an artist. I've been an artist ever since I was a little kid, for like as long as I remember. I mean, like when I was a kid, my parents thought I was a genius because I was able to read and write at such a young age. But truly, all that was really happening behind the scenes was that my grandparents, particularly my grandma from my dad's side of the family, who was my primary caretaker, she was getting her citizenship. So she was my caretaker. So I'd be sitting next to her while she's practicing writing very basic things in English, cat, dog, very elementary school things that she had to learn in order to get her citizenship. And I'm sitting there learning it with her. So my parents think like, oh my God, we have a genius on our hands. Like she's so smart, this, that, or whatever. And so going into school and stuff, I was a little bit more advanced and I did understand things a little bit more. And I strongly like go back to the fact that that's all because I was able to read. Like I was able to read books and things and kind of like learn different perspectives on life, I guess, through reading books and stories and kind of just understanding by just knowing how to read. And so I got very into like drama and very into music. I loved writing poems. Like I've been writing songs since man, I would say like 5, 6 years old. I remember writing like little poems. Like I would write Hallmark type cards for my parents and people for Christmas and their birthdays and stuff. Like I've just, with like finger paint, hand little things. Like I've just always been very creative. Only I don't think anyone in my family really knew how to nurture that. I was in an elementary school that really nurtured it. They did school plays. There was a school choir and they saw that I had like a talent in a lot of that stuff. So they would push that when I was in school. Then I got into like junior high and high school and the arts weren't nurtured in the same way and I lost it. And it was kind of like in 8th grade where I was taking guitar lessons, but I was also playing sports. And my parents were like, all right, we got 3 kids. We are we were teen parents, finances are kind of tough. Like, you got to pick, kid. Are you going to be a musician or are you going to be an athlete? And my other siblings, even like I'm the oldest, but my other siblings were athletes. Everyone else in my family, like cousins and all that other stuff, they were all athletes. I was kind of the only one who was like, oh, well, I want to be in the school play. Like my parents just didn't really know what to do with that. So I was good at sports too. And I just felt like, well, there's something here, I guess.
Right. You felt like, yeah, you needed to do the same thing that everyone else in your family was doing.
Yeah. And there was like a sure guarantee way there that I would get into college and get a scholarship. Whereas you can do that with music too, but my parents didn't know that world existed or how to get me in there. So yeah, I kind of just gave up on music, but secretly was always giving myself singing lessons every time I would be left alone. Like I would love when my parents were like, okay, we're going to go run errands. We'll be right back. And I'd be like, oh my God, I have the house to myself. That means I have a full hour to do like my own concert. And I would blast the music and I would sing. And I'm sure all of the neighbors from those neighborhoods, probably if they heard now that she's a singer, would believe me.
Yeah,
but
be like, family, oh, that makes sense.
No. But my family, no idea. Zero clue.
Wow. So yeah. I mean, yeah, you were an artist from the very beginning. It's just, life took you a different route. Yeah, but what's more impressive, just hearing you and listening to your story, is that you weren't afraid to open that door. and you did hear your calling, and you're doing it. And yeah, I mean, it happens to so many of us, right? That we are creative in one way or another, and we just didn't have the opportunity to be nurtured or access, to the lessons or to the money that is needed to take all those, like necessary steps to go into the arts and to be accepted into a college after you have taken classes and auditioned to some place. So, it was a different route, but you took it, and it's empowering, and I see you empowered, and that's beautiful. And Luna, I want to leave with asking, well, first of all, like, where can we hear your music? And your music, I mean, I'm a fan. I follow you on Spotify, and I play it. It's very uplifting. Where can we hear you? I know that you're also working on an album.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you for listening to my music. That means a lot. Honestly, whenever people go and listen on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, I'm on all of it. So you can find me on everything. But it means a lot because, and as an independent artist, it's hard to get out there. And when you don't have the marketing budget to really put yourself in the forefront of people's time and attention, it's difficult. So it does mean a lot. Every play counts. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite is Freak, and I really like the night shift. That's really fun.
Thank you.
They're very fun. So everyone needs to go and listen to Luna. Where can they also find you on social media?
I'm on all social media platforms, and my handle is the same thing on every one. It's at I am Luna Melero. So it's at I am, and then my name, LunaMelero. You can find me on any streaming platform, everything as my name too, Luna Melero. And then I'm going to be posting DJ mixes very soon. I haven't officially uploaded any DJ mixes. I'm such a perfectionist. I've been working on one for like 2 months now, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't nail that. I can't record it yet. And yeah.
I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's great. Yeah, you need to go and do it, because when you post that, and it's gonna, as with everything, right? With anything, it takes practice. And I'm pretty sure that the next one and the next, it's just gonna be a snowball effect. Like every single one of those things that you upload, those mix that you upload are gonna be better and better and better. So yeah, just go ahead, because I want to listen. So you need to go and upload it. You need to go and upload it right now.
I do. I need to do it. I'm going to be uploading mixes for sure to SoundCloud and Mixcloud and YouTube, hopefully as well. And I do DJ live Monday through Friday on TikTok, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time until a lot of the times like midnight, but sometimes we'll go to like 3 a.m. It really just depends on what the party's like on TikTok. It can vary. Some nights are really good and some nights are kind of slow. So I'm just, in the business of being consistent and playing music as often as I can. And I do have performances with my live band coming up and stuff like that as well throughout the year. And you mentioned I have an album. So I don't have an official release date for the album, but it'll be out later this year. I still have a couple more singles that I'm going to release first, and then I'm thinking by the fall I'll put out the full project. That way we can enjoy it into the holidays and kind of take a little break as the holidays come around. But
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, there's just so much happening now, and I'm telling you, like DJing, and it has just opened so many doors for me. So it's like the kick in the butt I needed. So now it's like I had all these ideas, and they were all ideas just for myself, just plans. And now it's like, oh, I have actually like to-do list of things but it's been really awesome just growing, and I'm super happy that we got to have this little conversation.
Yeah, me too. What else do you want people to know and to take away from this conversation to close?
I think I just really would love everybody to know that music for me is my love language. I don't really know how else to express myself other than like through music, and whether it's my own songs and the lyrics that I wrote myself, or whether it's playing my favorite songs. Just one thing that I've always really loved about music is that you provide a vibe, you provide a space. I once read this quote that said, music is how you decorate time. And that has always stuck with me. I'm like, wow, that's like so ambiguous and so weird, but it's also like so true. Music is how you decorate time. And one thing that music has always done for me is it truly has decorated times in my life where I base happiness and just memories and things about my life all comes back to like, oh, well, this music was playing, or we were at this show, or this song reminds me of so and so, or it always comes back to music for me. And that is something that I always want to give back through music, as a performer, as an artist. That is the intention that I put into everything that I produce and create for the world, whether it's just me practicing, whether it's just me rehearsing, or whether it's a full on performance. Just the expression of music itself. And I think I'm speaking for a lot of artists when I say this, is such a channel of love and such a channel of higher source that there's just, I don't know, for me, it's so much bigger than me. It's so much bigger than even music. It's about community. It's about healing. It's about togetherness. It's about love. And that's something that I really stand for. And I feel like that's something that I want the music industry to have more of. I think that's something that's really lacking. And whether people are here for it or not, I'm here to be the light that shines on the dark. And I truly, truly, truly stand by that.
Well, you heard it. I will see you on Spotify and on TikTok.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so, so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.